You don't have a money problem. You don't have a strategy problem. You've got a mental programming problem. Until you fix that, success will always feel temporary.
Welcome back to the League of Hustlers, where we build systems, not excuses. And today we're breaking down something most entrepreneurs ignore, and that's how to reprogram your mind for success. We're not talking about motivation. We're not talking about hype. We're talking about actual mental rewiring and the kind that actually produces results.
Exactly. Here's the reality most people are running outdated mental code. You say you want wealth, but your subconscious is wired for survival. That's why you procrastinate. That's why you self sabotage. That's why you start strong and fall off. But here's the promise if you can reprogram your mind, you don't need more motivation. You become the person who executes automatically. Let's jump right into it. Key point number one: awareness creates leverage. You cannot change what you don't see. Most people operate on autopilot, reacting instead of deciding. For example, you say you want to go to work or get to work at 6 a.m., reacting instead of deciding, right? Want to get to work at 6 a.m., your alarm goes off and you hit snooze. That's not laziness, that's programming. The brain is choosing comfort because it's been trained to. The key takeaway here is to start auditing your patterns. When you procrastinate, you hesitate, you quit early, right? That's your current programming revealing itself. Awareness is step one because you can't rewrite what you refuse to acknowledge. Now that you see it, let's talk about how it gets installed in the first place.
Right. And that brings us to key point number 2, which is repetition. Repetition is what builds identity, right? Your identity is not necessarily what you say, but is built off of what you repeatedly do. It's those learned behaviors that you repeat over and over and over again. And that defines your core programming about like who you are and who you believe you are. And so every action that you're taking, every decision that you're making is like a vote. And every habit that you kind of build over time is reinforcement. And so, for example, if you consistently avoid hard tasks, you begin building this identity of someone who struggles with discipline or someone who procrastinates. But if you flip it the other way and you start executing daily, even if it's, not at 100%, but let's say you're doing 80%, 75%, then you can start building a different program for yourself, right? You can become someone who finishes. And that's where you start challenging yourself. Number one, you have to identify those patterns, the ones that don't fit in the mode that you actually want for yourself. And you have to start changing those things and start, casting votes in the positive direction. And so stop trying to feel different. Your feelings are more like weather, like clouds, like they come and they go, and you can sit back and actually just watch them move from one vibe to the next. But while that's occurring, you have to actually take action. You have to start behaving differently, and not just differently, but you need to do it consistently. You got to get the reps in. The repetition is what's training your mind and your body, to take those actions in those particular moments. And so your mind will catch up with your actions over time. And that's the training that you need, right? But there's one more layer, because behavior alone isn't enough if your environment is working against you.
That brings us excuse me, to key point number 3. Your environment programs you faster than motivation ever will. Your inputs shape your outputs, period. What you watch, what you listen to, what you scroll through, that's all programming your belief system in real time. For example, if you're surrounded by, let's say, people complaining about money, right? We can't afford this, or we can't do this, we can't do that. I gotta wait till such and such till I get paid to do whatever, right? If you keep hearing that over and over, you're gonna normalize struggle. But if your environment is execution focused, everything changes. Strategy conversations, conversations about growth, conversations about ownership, these types of conversations will help you to rise or raise your standard automatically, right? The key takeaway from this is that you want to design your environment on purpose. You want to make sure you keep track of who you're around, what you're listening to. You want to make sure that you're around uplifting and positive people. Yes, life gets hard for sure. Times get tough for sure. You're going to be in situations where it seems insurmountable. All right. It seems so challenging, right? Of course, we all go through that. But we want to make sure that we align ourselves with the right people so that those negative moments are offset by the positive moments. All right. And we're not so consumed by the negativity that we just end up going down that path. Right. So don't leave your mindset to chance. Okay. The question that we have now is, how do we systemize it? How do we make this a normalized thing?
Right. And this is where the DreamStream strategy comes in, right? So DreamStream is an app that we use that is an execution system that grants you that level of clarity for your mind, for your goals. It's an entire system. And so you can align like your goals that you have for business, entrepreneurship, with your actions, with your tasks, with your identity. So, like right off the bat, let's say, in my ideal day right now it's 5:15 and I'm spending family time, but I know that based on like I've already gone down my ideal day using this day in the life section, right? So I go in and I can outline my entire ideal day in terms of like things that I may do for myself, things that I may do for my business, including, normalizing time slots that I should be executing certain things, including open slots for executing tasks, right? So I may get prayer, meditation, a morning workout, right? Begin some work, checking the market, and then start my outbound marketing activity, doing some development work. But all of these things, right? I'm building out the day in alignment with what I identified as being my overall goal. Like, okay, I need to make $100,000 over the next 12 months using these types of streams. And so, but lining this up with my actual day. And so I have the streams laid out. All right, these are the streams I'm going to be working on in that time frame. I can have a business model canvas for each of these and start building those out, have my SMART goals, have my tasks planned out for all of these things. But again, tying it all back to my goals, my vision that for my ideal day, and actually being able to execute on those things. And so basically you have one continuous feedback loop. Instead of guessing what to do, you're being fed the exact actions that you towards your vision, towards your goal. And then you have AI component inside the app that's also, serving as an assistant to give you ideas on, okay, maybe you should add these tasks in there for this stream, or giving you those reminders at this time of day you should be doing this task. And all of that helps to give you that repetition that you need to actually reprogram, gives you that tracking to help provide that awareness, and gives you that layer of consistency to give you the identity transformation that you need. So DreamStream removes the friction and it installs the success habits that you're going to need automatically just by using the app.
You're struggling and busy, but busy doesn't build income streams. Too many ideas, too many goals, no clear system. Most people hustle every day, but they're still guessing on what to work on next. But that's why we built DreamStream, an AI-powered system that turns your vision into real income streams. It organizes your ideas, your goals, and your weekly execution with AI guidance at every step. No more guessing, just focused progress. Start the free trial today and turn your vision into real income streams. Exactly. So execution starts now. All right. It starts today. Make up in your mind that you're going to start this today. The DreamStream app, we're really excited about it. It's amazing. Okay. It's a game-changing type of application that will really streamline your empires. The empire that you're building, all these different income streams that you have, is using AI integrated to the very core of it. Is going to take your process of creating income streams to the absolute next level. Okay. Business is hard enough. All right. It is very difficult to keep track of one business, right? And so when you talk about creating additional income streams, you have to systemize it. Simply put, you have to simplify and systemize, which is a whole section inside of DreamStream app, right? But just overall, check out the DreamStream, man. It's a free trial. You can get in there, set your stuff up, and actually see and utilize it for a good 7 days, all right, to figure out if it's something that would be beneficial to you, but we know it will. Anyway, execution starts now, okay? Here's how you're going to start today. No theory, just execution. All right, so step one, we're going to identify one limiting belief, just one, all right? Be honest with yourself. Where are you inconsistent? Look at those things that you're inconsistent on. What do you keep putting off? What's some habits that you need to change, right? Step two, we're going to replace that with a micro action, something small, not a big deal, but something that you can execute daily without fail, okay? Step three, we're going to control our inputs. We're going to clean up our environment digitally and physically, all right? We're going to take note of what we're watching. We're going to take note of what we're listening to. We're going to take note of what we're scrolling through. All right. And step four, we're going to track our execution. Okay. What gets tracked gets reinforced. Okay. What you put your attention on gets reinforced. And step five, we're going to repeat this daily. And that's how reprogramming happens. Not overnight, but inevitable. Okay.
If you're serious about rewiring your mindset for real results, you're going to need systems, not motivation. So tap into the DreamStream, start executing with intention. And if this episode hit, if it was valuable to you, share it with someone that may still need some help shifting out of that old programming.
Exactly. Execute daily to reprogram your life. You don't need to become someone else, right? You just need to install a new operating system, just like a computer, right? We want to reprogram our minds, and then success becomes the default. All right, that's it for this episode. As always, comment, like, share. If you have any questions, hit us up at leagueofhustlers.com. And that's it. We'll catch you guys next episode. Let's get it. Let's go and follow for more. Cheers.